Hello, I wanted to do this video today because I've been having a lot of conversations lately with some of my younger family members who are planning on going to college or thinking about going to college. And one of the questions that come up a lot for me is, you know, is a liberal arts degree worthless? And I really don't think that that's a yes no answer. um, Several years ago, I used to be a liberal arts major, and I was working on my second bachelor's degree in English literature. And at one point I just became disillusioned about it, and I decided to just stop. And I was like 12 credits shy of getting that bachelor's degree. I'll probably get into that, the reasons behind that, in another video. But what I can say from that experience is that you should never pursue a degree in something just solely because you're passionate about it, because your passion isn't gonna pay your bills necessarily. So my thing is this: I don't think that, first of all, when I talk about liberal arts degrees, I'm not talking about degrees in hard sciences, because some liberal arts colleges do offer degrees in hard sciences like chemistry or biology. I'm talking about mostly humanities like English literature, anthropology, social sciences, psychology, stuff like that. So I can't say that those degrees are worthless. I do believe that they have a certain amount of intellectual value to them. They're mostly useful if you're going to be getting into academic research or teaching, or if you plan to go on to do graduate studies. But I really do question their value in the marketplace and in the workforce, because for one, just, I don't know how it is in other programs of study in liberal arts, but just from my experience with going to school for English literature, you don't really learn a whole lot of practical skills that you can use in the real world, in the workforce. It's mostly, they teach you a lot of abstract theories. Like in English literature, they teach you a lot about analyzing literature. You don't really go into it learning how to analyze literature just from your own personal perspectives or perception. You have to learn how to analyze literature from different perspectives, like deconstruction, postmodernism, modernism, structuralism. There's a whole bunch of different abstract theories that they teach you in order to learn how to analyze and interpret the literature. It's interesting, but how is that going to help you to keep a job or to find a job? The one benefit, the one or two benefits that I did get out of it is that you're going to get very good at writing if you do pursue a degree in humanities or social sciences. You get very good in analyzing and critical thinking. But as far as you actually learning something that's a lot more hands-on and practical, you're not going to get that from just taking a bunch of theory courses. My advice to anybody who's thinking about taking up that course of study is to try and find a mentor or somebody who's actually in the field doing that type of work. Find out what they did to be successful and what they did to get a job and to keep a job, or try to do some sort of internship or apprenticeship. Otherwise you may end up like most people who get those types of degrees, either unemployed, underemployed, or just doing something that's completely unrelated to the degree. I don't think it's for me to say whether somebody should do something or shouldn't do something. That's really a personal choice. But at the same time, I'm not going to recommend people to go out there and, take on a huge debt load to get a degree in something that may not serve them well. The one thing that I forgot to mention is when it comes to degrees like ethnic studies, women's studies, archaeology, anthropology, things along those lines, I feel like, why spend thousands of dollars pursuing a degree in those types of studies when you can go and learn those things on the internet, or go to a library and just check out a bunch of books for little to nothing? It just doesn't make sense to me. I'm not trying to bash those types of degrees or programs of studies, because I feel like they do have a certain value to them. But what kind of job do you think you're going to get graduating with a degree in women's studies or philosophy or religious studies? You're not going to, the chances are likely that you're not going to get a degree working in those fields. You're going to most likely end up working outside of the field in a low-paid job, if you are able to even get a job. So, I would say, the choice is yours, ultimately, what you decide to do, but it's not something that I would recommend. And I personally don't feel like it's worth the money either. So that's all I got to say. Bye.